What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys either like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Alright, y'all. Today, we got to talk about robots. Robots are on the way. So I have an article from TechCrunch. We are going to go ahead and read through it together, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts. And just a heads up, if I sound nasally or congested or anything, it's just allergies. This weather being up and down, my nasal cavities is fighting for its life. So excuse me if I sound a little off at any point during this video. So, Robomart unveils new delivery robot with $3 flat fee to challenge DoorDash, Uber Eats. The Los Angeles-based company announced that its patented Robomart RM5 on Monday. The level 4 autonomous vehicle can carry up to 500 pounds and is made up of 10 individual lockers that hold customer orders. This structure is designed to allow for batch ordering, so a robot can work on multiple deliveries at the same time. Okay. You know, maybe they'll go ahead and put all the non-tip orders up in there. You know, 10 non-tippers on the robot. I don't know what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Robomart plans to use these new robots to operate an on-demand delivery business model similar to those of established food platforms. This model involves retailers partnering with Robomart to operate their own storefronts on Robomart's app, which is similar to apps like Uber Eats or DoorDash. What is different is the cost structure for the customers. Each time a customer orders from Robomart, they pay a flat $3 delivery fee, which the company hopes will be a much more attractive option than the multiple fees typically charged by other delivery apps. Yeah, if it's just a flat $3, yeah. You know, because with them taking out the cost of paying a driver, they don't really have to charge that much as far as to make profits. The only thing would be, what is the cost to maintain these robots? So are they going to be making enough, or are they going to have to raise that fee? We see this as building our own autonomous marketplace. That is something that is pretty unique in this space. An autonomous marketplace for on-demand delivery and using self-driving robots. So yeah, I could see that. I forget where it was. I think it was in LA. I think it was like a year or so ago. They were testing some of the little robot carts, and I don't think it really went that well. So it's coming. It's definitely coming. Robomart plans to start onboarding retailers in its first market, Austin, Texas, over the next few months ahead of launching the delivery service later this year. So if y'all in Austin, Texas, be on the lookout. I'm curious to see how that's gonna look. Our robots bring the cost of a delivery down by up to 70%. That is a critical difference. If you're paying a driver $18 an hour, your cost just for that driver is $9 to $10 per delivery. Ain't nobody paying no $9 to $10 for delivery. And so unless they're just trying to say how much it's gonna cost for that driver with other things that are associated with it as far as cost, more than just the, you know, the pay that actually goes to the driver. Yeah, that's a huge difference. You know, $3 per delivery versus, you know, however much it costs for them to go ahead and have all these drivers. So yeah, that's a big difference. While the on-demand delivery sector is a crowded space with several large legacy players, including Uber Eats and Grubhub, Ahmed thinks Robomart is bringing a totally new product to the market at a price he thinks consumers will be attracted to. Yeah, I think so. And then this is his last quote: "To give them this incredible proposition of $3 and no other charges, just price markups themselves can be prohibitively expensive. They don't even realize they're paying that markup and the other fees and the tips. This makes our model very attractive to the retailers and customers." Yep. That definitely would be quite attractive for those who, yeah, because between the markups and then the delivery fee, the service fee, and then you got a tip, you done probably paid about a good $15 extra on top of your orders. So yeah, flat $3 fee, that's definitely quite, yeah. Alrighty, so thoughts about this article. Yeah, we're definitely a lot closer to automation than we think. You know, I remember I was doing, I forget, it was last year or a year and a half ago, I forget, but I know this was when I first started doing my Toya React series. And I was talking about some robots that they were testing in LA. And it wasn't really looking too good. I'm not sure if this is the same company that had those robots, but they did say they were LA based. Yeah, automation is this thing is real. This is coming a lot quicker than we might think. And here's the thing, you know, I don't think it's gonna completely take over yet, but let me explain what I mean. So in the beginning, when this is starting to become more common, I feel like this is going to kind of play out similar to how people feel about self-checkout, for instance. It's definitely going to be utilized, but I feel like that there's still going to be that demographic, mostly the older generation. They're mostly going to be like, you know, I still want that human interaction. You know, I don't want people to lose their jobs, you know, things like that. Now, eventually, I feel there could be a complete takeover of the industry with automation, robots, all of that, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take time. You know, technology is taking huge leaps. It's advancing pretty quickly, but for it to completely take over this type of industry, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. Now, if we're lucky, maybe by the time we get out of gig work, you know, we're older or we've moved on to better things, you know, maybe that's when the full takeover will happen. And I'm using the word lucky loosely because unfortunately, the next generation of gig workers, they're going to be the ones that are going to have to deal with this and figure everything out if they're replaced by AI and robots. Now, here's my take on this, and this might be a bit different than how some people might think about this, but just hear me out, okay? I feel like technology is a double-edged sword, and this is coming from somebody that works in tech. We have gotten so accustomed to just being able to pick up our phones and be like, oh, I want to go ahead and order whatever. Just boom, 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 add to cart, check out. And then within 30 minutes to an hour, or however long, you know, it's at our doorstep, right? And, you know, that has its perks, of course. You know, we're super busy. A lot of us are working multiple jobs, so we can't just take time to go ahead and cook or go grocery shopping, get this from the store, whatever it may be, right? It's super convenient, right? That's what it was made for. But at the same time, do you think most people think about how their order is fulfilled? And I'm talking beyond just the delivery driver. You know, if you're ordering food, that cook who had to prepare it. What about the drivers who had to unload and load the ingredients on the truck and get them to the restaurant? Or even the farmers who had to go and pick those ingredients from the field. Now, do we have to think about every single step along the way? No, not necessarily. And we shouldn't have to. But these are all the moving pieces and all the people who are involved to get your pizza to your doorstep. We almost always forget that human element for the luxury of convenience. As someone who does frequently use self-checkout, you know, if I have a small batch of items, maybe 4 or 5 things in my hand, you know, I don't want to go and wait in a line and wait for somebody to, you know, slowly ring up my stuff. You know, I usually go to self-checkout and scan, and I'm in and out, because that's literally what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get in and out because I have to move on to the next thing that I have to do throughout that day. At the time, am I thinking about the cashiers who don't have a job because of the self-checkout that I'm using? In all honesty, no. Like I said, I'm thinking about the next thing I have to do. Now, should I think about those people? I mean, I guess it just kind of depends on how you look at it. In this case, with delivery automation, how would most people look at it? I think most people would say, wow, you know, this is super convenient. Not only do I not have to deal with the hassle of a driver, I'm actually getting my items to me at a cheaper cost. I only got to pay a flat rate, no more delivery fees, service fees. I ain't got to tip the robot. You know, I'm saving a lot of money. You know, this sounds great, right? Now, going back to those steps to get that pizza to your door, how many of those steps have been impacted by automation? Well, farmers use machinery to harvest more. It's way more productive, and that's less people they need to hire to have on the fields. There are some companies that are testing self-driving trucks because as humans, well, we need to take breaks, we need to sleep, use the bathroom, eat, all of that stuff. So, that eats away a lot of time that these companies can't get back when they need to get a product from point A to point B. Self-driving trucks completely eliminates all of that, and the only thing the truck has to do is just go. So now they're moving products more quickly throughout the country. Even some places have robots cooking food. And I'm not gonna lie, I think the videos that I have seen of that, they look kind of rough, but imagine if that does get tweaked and it actually works flawlessly. Food is gonna be flying out the kitchen at a crazy pace. And then we get to the delivery, which is gonna be the cherry on top if we have these robots delivering our food, our products, whatever it may be. Like they mentioned in this article, these companies are going to save a ton of money by not having to pay drivers. Saving up to what they said, 70%? Yeah, 70%. That's going to be the drive for these companies to push for this. Even though this is their own company, I wouldn't be surprised if DoorDash, tries to either buy them out, because literally DoorDash wants their hands in everything. But either they try to buy them out or they go ahead and try to come up with their own autonomous delivery robot, whatever it may be. It's coming for sure, because if they seeing how much they can save, yeah, no, they not gonna let that go. They definitely gonna get their hands on that somehow, because at the end of the day, it's all about cutting cost and getting more profits. I feel like automation is gonna hit the gig scene, I would say within 5 years. 5 to 10 years, maybe even sooner. I'm not gonna lie, it might even be sooner, but I would say roughly 5 years. And it's gonna be a slow transition, I would say. Like I say, you're gonna have that we want the human demographic, but slowly it's gonna phase out. Like I said, maybe not in our generation of workers, maybe the next generation or the generation after that. It's gonna happen eventually. It is most definitely gonna happen eventually. And I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of off topic, but every day we get closer to using more and more and more AI and like everything that we do. I keep thinking, are we gonna have that moment like in the Terminator series when AI just completely snaps, it takes over, becomes self-aware, and then we're just screwed? Because I'm not gonna lie, I be seeing these AI videos, I be seeing folks talk to AI, they pause and they stutter and they're like, they sound so human, and it's just like, this is the world that we're pushing for. Like, this is what we want to work towards. Like, it's kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. So, but like I said, off topic, but it's just crazy seeing it in pretty much every space that you can think of, how AI is slowly starting to take over. But in all seriousness, tech is great. It makes things more convenient for us. We can get things done quicker, makes things easier. But at the same time, I feel like it is also starting to make us obsolete. Because in the company's eyes, why would you pay a human to do the same job that AI can do quicker and at a third of the cost? So job displacement because of AI, that becomes more and more common. And again, just losing that human element, because you're thinking like, oh, well, profits, I'm getting this done quicker, I'm getting this done more efficiently. And you're forgetting that you're letting go of a person that has a family that they have to take care of. Literally forgetting that people are people. But of course, that doesn't matter anymore, because look how much money we saved by switching to AI, switching to autonomous delivery, autonomous this, autonomous that, whatever. Look at how much quicker we can fulfill this, and look how more efficient it is. That's what's important, right? That's the real prize, right? So with all that being said, is it all going to be worth it in the end? Only time will tell. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got for this topic. So let me know what y'all thought about this article. I will have it linked below if you guys want to read into it a little bit more. But yeah, this is looking a little scary, I ain't gonna lie. So we're gonna have to figure out, our next move if we're gonna get replaced by some robots. So yeah, only time will tell though. Like I said, it's closer than we think. It's just a matter of when it's gonna happen. Not if, it's a matter of when. Let me know what you guys thought about this article. Let me know your thoughts on automation, AI, all of that. How do you think it is going to reshape the gig scene when it comes to fruition? So just let me know in the comments. Now, before I go, I have to remind you guys to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.